Now, there's one thing I want to go over really quickly, and then I'll pass it off to Jen, who's going to talk a little bit about ad hominem attacks.
Yeah.
But today in Austin starts a new initiative called Explore God, and a bunch of billboards went up around town. There's 325 plus churches have signed on to this. Basically, somebody who made a bunch of money on the internet decided they were going to put up billboards to do this new Explore God initiative. They put up a website, exploregod.com. It's a bunch of slick videos with people offering their opinions about what they think about God. And the local news came over and did a quick interview with me last week, and it aired, I think it was a week and a half ago, because it aired last Monday. And I won't say they misquoted me. They didn't. They showed the footage as I said it. I'm not even sure that they really misrepresented me, but what aired on the news was not really representative of the whole story. There's a little bit more online at their website. I talked about this on Facebook, but the nuts and bolts of it is that I spent 30 minutes or so answering questions of what I thought about the Explore God initiative, and I'll sum that up for you really quickly. I'm okay with it. I'm actually encouraging people to explore God. After all, that's how I got here. I think that this is nothing new. It's the megachurch equivalent on the internet. It's, hey, 325 churches. If you can get that many together, you know there's a problem. Probably church attendance dropping off, and they're pretty desperate to see what they can do to revitalize. And the rock bands haven't actually worked out, and the tattooed, spiky-haired preachers in casual clothes talking about how you need to love people instead of hellfire and brimstone hasn't really done quite as much as they might have hoped. And since they can't get answers directly from the source, it makes sense that they would sit around and see what other people's opinions about God were. I encourage this sort of thing. And we went through and we had a discussion about all that. And then near the end of the interview, he said, well, I think what I'm really getting at is, don't you think this is a big waste of money? And that's when I knew what the angle of the story was going to be. And I explained that, yeah, you could look at this as a big waste of money. After all, Austin's got a homeless problem. There's plenty of other places we could be spending money. But I also added that you could say the same thing about money that was spent on billboards for atheist organizations, probably to a lesser extent, since ours have actually been effective. And this one maybe too. But my thing was, this was all about free speech and free exercise, and I encourage them, and I don't have any objections to it. And they could look at some of the things that I've done and say that I wasted my money. I know I wasted some money yesterday just shopping around and buying the wrong stuff, or buying things I didn't need. So that the money angle was never my primary objection. It was the way they wanted to tell the story. And sure enough, on Monday night when I saw the report, it was wealthy internet entrepreneur buys tons of billboards around Austin. All the churches think it's awesome, and this atheist thinks it's a waste of money. All of which is true, but it doesn't really represent, the whole truth of the story. And I also pointed out that churches do often help the homeless. And I thought it was funny that they only showed the first half of my response, cutting out my clarification of it, and then immediately said, so-and-so says that churches have been helping the homeless for years, which, they could have just let me say it, and then it would have, I don't know. Anyway, that's all I had on that front. The news is going to feed you whatever they want to feed you. By and large, I don't have a bunch of complaints, except that, as I pointed out in the clip that's online, if you really want to explore God, why didn't anybody ask me to be a part of the Explore God project? I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about this before the show. We actually support people exploring God. And actually, if you go to the website and you look at the videos, again, we talked about this before the show. They're incredibly well produced. It's a beautiful website. I'm kind of envious of the production values there. But unfortunately, the arguments are bad. It's the same bad arguments that we've been dealing with on this show for as long as the show's been in existence.
And some of them aren't even arguments.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, it's like,
just a...
A lot of them begin with this presumption that God exists.
Yeah.
Why does God allow suffering? Well, I think you've kind of put the cart before the horse there. Maybe we got to figure out whether or not this God fellow has got anything at all to do with any of this. But so that's all I wanted to cover on the news angle. But